Alright guys, just an update video on the 55 project. Now if some of you don't know, for the last month and a half or so, I was trying to work on an 80 Buick Regal project to get together as a daily driver, to have something to get back and forth to work, because my square body pickup is using a little over a quart a week and it smokes real bad when you start it. Anyway, the Regal, I got a motor in it, tranny in it, tagged it, insured. I actually drove it around my neighborhood a little bit, and I just had a few little finalized things to do, put the dash in, inner fenders, stuff like that, rear exhaust hangers, just little small stuff, and the motor started knocking. It was a used motor, and I did pull a few caps to check the bearings, but I didn't pull them all, and that's kind of what I get for not doing that. But anyway, I talked to my dad, and I can use his pickup if my truck goes down, so I do have a secondary way to work if I need it. So what I've decided to do is put the Regal away, because I'm not going to pull the motor out and rebuild it. And if I'm going to pull the motor out and rebuild it, I'd rather do it in the truck because the air conditioner works in it. So anyway, catch you up to speed on the 55. The chassis, I never have shown an up-close video of this. I have plastic that I, real thin drop cloth plastic that I have usually covering it. Anyway, I'll show, up close if the camera will pick it up. It's picking up a lot of shadows and reflections and stuff, but just to show how slick it is. I did talk to a friend on the phone. It's been about a month ago, and he said it looks good in a video, but what's it really look like? And he also asked me what the pipe cap was for, which is for fuel pump clearance. Anyway, it looks really good, even in person. So it looks just as good in person. Not that my head's big or nothing. I'm just, I spent a lot of time on it, so it should have turned out. With the months that I put into it, it should have turned out good, But anyway, I'm really pleased with it. And like I've said before, I didn't work on this top edge back, 3/4 back, because when the body's on, you don't see the very top. But as far as the bottom, I don't even know if that'll actually show up in here. It'll probably just be too shaded. I completely smoothed the frame rails on the bottom from front to back. Let's get some dust and dirt on it. But it is slick, very smooth. It's just dusty as hell on the bottom. But anyway, the dash is ready for a respray, because I had to move my two-tone line down, and then it actually went through when I sanded it, because I was color sanding to buff it at first, and then I figured out my two-tone line needs to be dropped down a little further, so I've got it sanded and ready to be wiped down and taped off. What else? Now I'm going to show what I've been messing with, and I've been hesitant to show this because, not that I'm the first guy that's ever done this to control arms, it's just that I have a buddy that he does the monkey see monkey do thing, and when he gets to talking to people after a couple of months, it ends up being his idea, and I copied him. So it's going to happen no matter what, so that's why I decided just to go ahead and show it. Basically trying to get all the paint off around the edges, and I'm not compromising the welds by any means. I'm just, because I load the filler up pretty heavy on there, and anyway, every joint will be smoothed out and slick with filler. And this is what happens. Now I did not keep track of the hours that I have in these, but that's what it looks like when it's done. All the weld seams are pretty much smoothed out. I did do speed holes here. I had these in. I put in a couple years ago. And these I went ahead and did these as well. But I did get a lot of my parts Z-chrome. This is not a drop in the bucket of the parts I have. I have stuff in the house. I have stuff hanging from the ceiling over here, and I have stuff on the shelf that I Z-chromed a few days ago. I had a Z-chrome party basically, and I've kind of been skipping around blocking here and there, and just to kind of see how stuff's turning out. And 2 coats of Z-chrome on that cast rear cover. It was a rough cast, and it's completely flat. I've still got to finish sanding on it, but that thing's going to look very, very slick. Now I ran out of Z-chrome, and my local paint supplier quit stocking it, and the store in Tulsa that I usually get it at, for 3 months I've called, and at random times, and they're always out and they never know when they're going to get it in, so they may not ever get it back in. So I went ahead and used the Evercoat 4-1. Now I really dislike this stuff. It is no comparison whatsoever to Z-Chrome, even though it is a polyester primer. So don't get it mixed up. There is no comparison. It does not spray the same, it doesn't mix the same, and it doesn't sand the same. This stuff's harder to sand and it takes more of it. So I have 4 coats on the rear axle. But I can tell you one thing, when this rear axle is final blocked and ready and painted, this thing is going to be freaking slick. All this stuff I capped and all these brackets I've made and everything is molded in. It's just going to look killer. I decasted this with a roll lock and ball beads the best I could, and then I just loaded it up. And I have a little K&N filter that'll go on here. I was having trouble with this. I had Z-Chrome on it before, and I had taken the rear end cover off, and the gasket was broken, and I had the cover, bolted back on, and then I'd knocked the pinion seal out. Well, this thing kept seeping oil out, and it had saturated that Z-Chrome around the nose and a little bit around the back. So that's not good for a polyester primer because that stuff absorbs, So what I decided to do was put my new pinion seal in, and I knocked it in about, 3/4 of the way, and I taped it off. So when I'm done with the painting process, I'll pull the tape off and then I'll hammer it back in, and then it looks like a brand new seal's been put in. Still, for the detail of it. But basically having the seal in there, it's about, yay thick, so any fluid will build up to it. It won't saturate out or seep out. I went ahead and used my new rear end cover gasket, so I'll have to buy a new one because I don't want one that's painted, and this one's already crushed with this gasket, or with this cover. But I had to hammer the flange out on the cover and everything, and then I bolted it down. So no more seeping for now, thank goodness. But anyway, I am not looking forward to these lower control arms. These are going to suck. All these areas I got to fill, and I'll show you the spindles. This took 4 coats, and I did do roll lock work to these as well because they're so rough cast. I smoothed all the casting lines out and everything, but these are going to be completely slick smooth when they're done. All the chassis is going to be slick smooth completely, and the majority of the stuff will be a single stage urethane gloss black, and bolting onto this matte finish black chassis is going to look freaking awesome. It's really going to pop, and I just can't wait to get the chassis parts on it, and then that way I can put the brand new tires and wheels on, so I'll have something to look at when I come out here, But I got a lot of color sanding and buffing to do on the body, and I still got to paint the back half of the car. So anyway, that's an update video, and this 5-day weekend I got coming up, I'm going to do an update video every night of those 5 days. It'll be like a video series for anybody that's interested. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to go eat dinner.